The Wellington Phoenix are through to the last 16 of the Australia Cup, beating Perth Glory in a game that took basically nearly 3 hours to finish. Of course, there was a big weather delay during extra time, forcing a half-hour break in game, and also a game that very much was very tight, very dramatic, and was set for a penalty shootout, of course, which the Phoenix came out on top after 1-1. Full time, after extra time, the Phoenix took out this penalty shootout by 8 goals to 7, and what has been a perfect start for the Phoenix for their pre-season campaign. As I'm Nick from Nick'n'detail, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Perth Glory and Wellington Phoenix game, which took place in Perth last night. So let's get into it. That's right, the Phoenix, fresh off their win over Wrexham the week beforehand, were in action, I should say, rather, in the Australia Cup last night. They took on Perth Glory in the last 32. The Phoenix, of course, not having the best of history with the Australia Cup. The furthest they've got is basically to the quarterfinals, so indeed haven't really gone that far in this competition. And of course, last year were knocked out by a Melbourne NPL team, with very much of an academy strength team they played, but the Phoenix were able to progress through to the next round of the Cup last night. They beat Perth Glory. Despite this game finishing 1-0 in both extra time and, of course, full time beforehand, the Phoenix came out on top in penalties by 8 goals to 7. So let's get my thoughts on this game. This was actually a really good game to watch. This is a game very much dominated by Perth Glory, and I feel like they were probably the side that deserved more of a result out of the game. But you got to give credit to the Phoenix. Once again, we saw a similar side that Chiefy fielded against Wrexham in that first half play against Perth Glory in this game. So a very much a, sort of strong, if not sort of understrength team for the Phoenix as well. Still a few players unavailable, including, of course, their new signings. Of course, the other day, Carlo Armento was confirmed by the Phoenix as another new signing and a new visa player signing indeed. Of course, coming back from his couple of years over in Italy, having, of course, played in the A-League a few years ago for the Brisbane Roar, but the Phoenix, very much with their academy players, again, were really able to hold off this Perth Glory team that looked very good and who have made a truckload of signings ahead of this season, including, two former Phoenix players in Scott Wooten and Sam Sutton, both starting against their former club last night. But still, for the Phoenix to be able to hold off a constant Perth Glory pressure, I said they were the better side in this game, is a good result, considering, of course, the team they fielded as well. The goal was really nicely worked as well, and we're able to, restrain a lot of pressure from the home team. And Perth Glory, as I said, very much deserving of that late equaliser, even though I know for the Phoenix, they will be disappointed with that. They were very much knocking on the door the whole game and very much, deserving of that equalising goal. And I think for the Phoenix, it's a good sign that, yes, early doors, you are able to contain teams that are very much, building like they're going to be actually a decent side for this upcoming season. And considering as well, you've got most of your top players unavailable. So it did a good result for the Phoenix. It was a great game to watch, a very tight game to watch, despite, of course, the weather drama as well, and of course, just how that can change the game mentally, especially in extra time as well. The Phoenix, I think, did a great job, and of course, very much a sort of mix of an academy team in that second half and in extra time, and did a great job as well in the penalty shootout to win what was quite a long-winded penalty shootout between the two teams. It's a great sign for the Phoenix going forward to this upcoming A-League season. So a great game to watch and a good result for the Phoenix. But Perth Glory, considering this is their first proper outing of the season, a bit disappointing with them, but of course early doors for them yet in this competition. So who was my standout player for this game? I'm going to give a shout out to Lucas Cully-Hill. Now, this guy, of course, has been part of the Phoenix for the last few seasons. Didn't really play that much last season. Had a few hamstring problems towards the start of last season in the A-League. So we didn't really get to see him until kind of the halfway point of the season. But a player with a lot of height. But I think if we look at the bigger picture, we haven't really seen him contribute that much to this Phoenix team. But I thought last night, not to take away from him, he had a really good game. He was there in the right moments. I thought created some good chances and looked like a threat in the box. And of course, for his height as well, it makes for a great opportunity as well to really put pressure on defenders, but also backlines in general. But I thought Cully-Hill was great last night, scored the winning penalty for the Phoenix that sent them through to the last 16. But overall, I think just a great performance from him, and my standout player for the Phoenix for this game, Lucas Cully-Hill. Good performance from the left back, even though I know he's been more used as a winger as of late under Chiefy's system, but very much a left back in his natural position. But still a good performance from Cully-Hill nonetheless. My standout player for this game. So what's next for both teams? Well, for the Wellington Phoenix, we actually don't know who they're playing next. Of course, there are still a few cup games to come, including Auckland FC making their Australia Cup debut tomorrow night against Australian NPL side, the Gold Coast Knights. So of course, waiting for those results to come through. So you won't really find out until the middle of this week who the Phoenix will be facing next in the last 16. But for Perth Glory, obviously we know they'll still have a few friendlies for them. Of course, the A-League, of course, announced the other day, won't be kicking off until the 17th of October. That week of the 17th of October, still a good 3 months away now. We're coming up a couple of months, being that we're at the end of July pretty much. But yes, Perth Glory, I know this will be a disappointing result for them with the squad. They look like they're going to have a pretty decent squad this season. But yes, I think for them, it's just a bit more building the attacking momentum for them. And I think they can be a real threat in this competition this season. But for them, friendlies, behind the closed door stuff, and then, of course, the A-League season, which won't kick off, as I said, to another few months' time. So that's going to be for me. What was actually a great game to watch, a great result for the Phoenix. Yes, it's early doors with only 2 games in pre-season. Technically, this Australia Cup, you classify for an A-League team as pre-season because it's very much them getting into, full match fitness. But for them, considering they've got a young team as well, the academy players, particularly against Wrexham and, of course, even against Perth Glory last night, really showing, the potential they have. And having the, last season when they got a load of minutes under Chief when they had that injury crisis during the kind of halfway point of last season. I think it makes great signs for the Phoenix that, these players can really step up on occasions. I think a great example, of course, Western United, of course, few seasons ago, having, these younger players come through, and of course, recently just making the semi-finals of last year's A-League competition, and a lot of them being quite young as well, like early 20s, I think shows, the way that, you give these young players opportunity, bleed them into, your system, give them these minutes, and they can really show, the potential they have. I feel like this could be the Phoenix coming into this season, but I think it's a great performance. Perth Glory still feel like, even though they've built a really good backline, I believe their backline and midfield is looking pretty solid for this season. I feel like we're still missing that attacking prowess from them. I know they've got a few good younger players coming through. Of course, they've signed young Melbourne City striker, Suleimani, a great young prospect who had a great season, for the A-League champions last year when they had that big injury crisis up front. Of course, as well, Adam Taggart as well. But of course, we're seeing Adam Taggart, aging a little bit as well. I think a few younger guys coming through, but still need a bit more time to bleed into, professional football minutes. But for Taggart, of course, 32 years of age, 10 goals last season, 25 games for the Perth Glory. Of course, a great, goal scoring threat. I just feel like for Perth Glory, you can't really be relying all your goals on him, man. I feel like that's why we do need to see a bit more of attacking, signings, a bit more, attacking options up front for the Glory to really give them problems up front in terms of, opposition, defending and all that. And yeah, I feel like for Perth, even though, of course, they've got some good players, Lockie Wales, another great example as well, a great attacking player, I feel like we still need a bit more, going forward for them to really become a goal scoring threat in this competition. But enough from me. That's going to be it. Until next time, I'll see you later.